Today is yoga for stress. Nice, gentle, slow class. Not that that makes it easy. Sometimes going slower is harder for the head. Today we're going to focus on having an experience. So we're going to do some movements in all kinds of ways. So a little bit different ways, same movement, different experience. Just trying to have an experience. And the invitation is to find sensation in the physical body, but notice when the mind is pulling you out of the sensation. So really having an experience of what you're doing on the mat in this moment. So we're going to start down on our backs, feet down, knees up. Land on the mat. So, what does that mean? Can you feel the mat? Can you feel your body on the mat? And as you start to think about being here right now on the mat, can you notice the most troubling, the most drawing thought that pulls you away? And maybe as you start, it's not there just yet, but maybe further into the practice, you'll notice the thing that's pulling you away, the thing that's drawing your attention. And then we're going to direct our attention gently. So we're going to start by directing our attention to the soles of the feet. Maybe give the feet a wiggle, the toes a wiggle. Notice what is present in the feet. So noticing what is present. What do your muscles feel? Noticing, are your feet warm or cold? And then notice your legs. Maybe give your knees a little sway, your hips a little sway. Notice what is present. And then we're going to warm our hands by rubbing them together. And we're going to place our hands on our torso. So somewhere on our stomach, underneath the rib cage, where they feel comfortable, without pulling our shoulders up tight or bringing in any muscular action. Just start to feel the warmth of your own hands and what is present in this space. Can you feel any tightness in maybe the organs of digestion? Maybe you can feel some tightness in the muscles around breathing. Maybe your stomach is gurgling as you start to soften and loosen. Maybe you're already starting to turn off fight or flight and turn on rest and digest. And then noticing the warmth of your hands, bring your focus to your breath. So as you breathe in, just notice your your hands and your stomach rise. And as you breathe out, notice your stomach slowly start to fall. Your hands move. Whenever you start to drift away from noticing your breath, return to feeling your hands first. Noticing the movement, and then drawing your attention to all parts of the breath. Maybe noticing a softening around the face and the neck and the chest as you start to really soften into attention on your breath. Maybe you can begin to notice that each breath is a little bit different. The pace might be a little bit different. And perhaps as you slow your focus onto your breath begins to slow. And then gently warm your hands again, rubbing them together. And then place the hands on the back of your neck. So just wherever is comfortable, kind of on the back of your neck, right up into the bottom of the skull. And just hold your hands here softly, not grabbing, just feeling your hands in this space. And notice if you feel any tightness, inflammation, any gripping in these muscles. Maybe you can bring the base of your hands more towards the jaw and the ears. Maybe you can start to feel the muscles of the jaw. And then gently let your elbows fall to the ground and bring your fingertips to the base of the skull. So fingertips just holding the base of your skull. Just resting your skull on your fingertips. And you're going to take a very gentle movement with your chin. So just a tiny movement with your chin side to side, feeling your fingertips, feeling your skull move on your fingertips. So trying to find a little connection with this space. Seeing if you can find places that feel like they're holding tension. Little tiny movement side to side with your chin. A little self-massage with your fingertips. And then gently release your hands. Take your arms out, even with the shoulders, palms out. So a nice T with your arms. Let your shoulder blades fall to the ground. So trying to breathe. And breathe in, and with each breath out, letting your shoulders fall a little more. Notice if that brings any awareness to the muscles in the lower back, muscles in the neck. So letting gravity draw your shoulder blades into the ground. And then we'll start to just bring a little awareness to the muscles around the chest and shoulders. So we're going to bring our arms up to the ceiling, fingertips to the ceiling. We're going to inhale as we draw our hands back down towards the ground. And exhale as we squeeze them back together. So it's just starting to give a little bit of awareness to the muscles of the arms, chest, and shoulders. Inhale as you open. Exhale as you squeeze in. So what can you feel, and where can you feel it? Notice that if you have tension in some other place in your back, maybe your lower back, you may start to feel muscles activating when we're just focusing on the shoulders. See if you can find and body scan for other muscle activation. Notice the muscles of the neck. See if you can bring a little softness more around the jaw and the neck. And then bring the fingers up to the ceiling, interlace the hands. So bring the hands together, interlace, and then pull the fingertips apart. Look at your hands. So looking at your hands, bringing all of your focus onto your hands. What do you feel into the fingertips? What do you feel in the wrists? And then flip the palms, send them to the ceiling. So if this is too intense, just push your hands up to the ceiling. If you can keep the interlace, press the hands up to the ceiling. Again, feeling what is present in the wrists, feeling what is present in the hands. Slowly untangle the fingers and take very slow circles with the wrists, feeling the hands. Noticing any creaks or groans, and then switch the direction of your circles. And then slowly lower the hands back down towards the hips. Slam the shoulders. Notice what is present, maybe a little more free in the shoulders, maybe not. And then we're going to take the right leg up to the ceiling. So take it up to the ceiling. Have an experience in the right leg. So move the foot around, move the leg around, bend and straighten. Just start to feel the right leg. Notice what is present. Find some movement. Find some mind-body connection. Maybe taking some circles with the foot, maybe taking some circles with the leg. See what feels like movement that is right for you right now. And then lower the right leg. Take a side sway of the hips and the knees, a little letting go. And then take the left leg up. Same thing. Feeling all of the muscles in the leg and the foot. Moving it, having an experience, noticing what is present. And noticing how long during this practice you can keep your focus on the leg, on the body part we're looking at, moving, focusing on, and how much the mind draws you away. Lower the left leg, take a little side sway of the knees and the hips. And then draw the knees in towards the stomach. Give yourself a little hug, and you can keep it static or rock it. And then roll on over to a side and make your way to a tabletop position. So starting to feel tabletop, feel your hands on the mat. Feel the tops of your feet down. If you prefer, you can tuck your feet. Have an experience in the hands, maybe adjusting the weight side to side, starting to feel the wrists, the shoulders. And having your hands in a comfortable position. So making sure the wrists are comfortable. Start to pull up from the ground with the muscles of the shoulders. We're going to take some very small and controlled movements, trying to have an experience in particular muscle groups. So we're going to inhale and pull our chest, just our chest up, and then exhale, lower our chest just a little bit. So it's this teeny tiny movement, not a giant cat-cow, but a small movement just in the muscles of the chest. Pull the chest up, exhale, lower the chest. Small movement. Starting to feel the shoulders. And then bring it back to tabletop. And we're going to take the movement a little bit bigger. So starting from the muscles of the chest. Inhale, pull up, make a bigger shape, cat. Exhale, lower slow. Inhale, pull up. And exhale, lower. Notice how a subtle change in the movement can have a totally different experience in the body. And then bring it back to neutral tabletop, and we're going to make the movement even bigger. So still thinking about moving from the chest. We're going to pull up, take a cat shape, and take the hips back a little. And then lower and come back to tabletop with our chest lowered. So much bigger movement. Notice how using the same muscles in a slightly different way feels different. And then come back to tabletop, and now we're going to take barrel rolls with the chest. So little circles with the rib cage. Slow circles. It doesn't matter which direction you choose first. We're going in both directions. So slow circles. Seeing what is present. Feel the shoulders. Feel the hands and the wrists. And then switch the direction. Notice perhaps different sensations when you go in the other direction. Landing back in tabletop. Now we're going to take circles with the hips. So send the hips all the way left, back, and then all the way up to the right, and complete the circle nice and slow. See if you can take one whole long breath for the movement. And then reverse the circle. And then bring it back to tabletop. We're going to take the right leg out and lower the toes. Press through the heel. So just start to feel the leg, feel the back of the leg, feel the muscles at the feet. Little movements. And then lower the knee, and we're going to pull the heel towards the glute. So try to activate, pull the heel, right heel towards the glute. Start here. And then we're going to lift the knee with the heel pulled towards the glute. So see what you feel in the back of the leg and notice what happens in the back. So notice if you start to buckle into the back, give a little attention, a little muscular action to the stomach and chest. Hold the leg here. And then we're going to pull the heel away. Inhale, exhale, squeeze the heel towards the glute. Watching all the other muscles of the body. So watching the wrists and shoulders, watching buckling in the back, watching your breath. And then softening the face, softening the jaw. And then lower the right leg, reset. Left leg out, press the toes down, press through the back of the heel. Lower the knee and draw the heel towards the glute. So activate the back of the leg. Feel the back of the leg first. And then lift the knee, keeping the heel peeling towards the glute. And notice what else is present in the body. See if you can make adjustments to be more careful and more strong. And then inhale as you draw the heel away from the glute. Exhale as you draw it back. Trying to make all of this movement in the leg. So watching for it coming with swaying of the hips. Watching the back. Staying present with the breath. And then lower the left leg. Take a little reset. Notice what is present. And then we're going to take the left leg out even with the hip. Lower the foot. So nice and long, starting to feel inner thigh. Plant the foot down. From here, engage the leg. So engage inner thigh. And we're going to take little soft movements of the hips back and forth, just feeling what is present in inner thigh. So inhale forward, exhale, send the hips a little bit back. See what you can find in the inner thigh. Maybe you need to adjust and slide the foot out a little more. See if you can find some more inner thigh tension. And then in your tabletop position with the leg out, engage and see if you can peel that foot up. So a little engagement, lift the leg. Notice which muscles want to do all of this movement. So see if you can use the leg muscles and not switching and pulling from this right hip. Lift the leg. If this is too much, bend the knee, make the leg a little less heavy and hold. Breathe. And then lower the left leg. Notice left and right sides. Right leg out, even with the hip. Lower the foot, start to activate the leg. Notice your hands and wrists. We've been on our hands and wrists for a while. Maybe you need to change the position, change your wrist shape. Point your hands in a different direction. Start to feel the muscles of the right leg. And then inhaling the hips a little forward. Exhaling a little back. Really trying to find as much experience as possible in the inner right thigh. So can you find the muscles of the inner right thigh? Can you continually focus on what is happening in the inner right thigh? And as we're having an experience here, there is no goal, there is no mastery. Oh, I can stay present on my mat every moment of every practice. It's an exploration. Getting to know yourself, getting to know your common thought patterns, getting to know your common distractions. And then hold the hips steady, hold the legs steady, fire up the muscles and see if you can peel the right heel up off the ground. Maybe you need to bend the leg to hold. And then notice if you start to hold your breath as you start to challenge the muscles a little. Breathe. And then lower the right knee. Notice left and right sides. And then slowly lower down to crocodile. So all the way down to our stomach. One hand on top of the other, forehead down. Shimmy the hips. Notice what is present here. So as we start to settle into this position, can we bring all of our focus to the point where our forehead is touching our hand? What can we feel present here? And then we're going to work through patterns of our shoulders. So bring your hands out wider than your mat, somewhere comfortable for balance. Pressing just a little into our hands. We're going to lift our shoulders just a little. As we inhale, we come through center. As we exhale, we're going to lower left shoulder and look towards right foot. And then switch. Inhale, center, exhale, lower right shoulder, look towards left foot. So with this movement, start to really explore your own holding patterns. Start to notice how your shoulders move, how they prefer to move. Maybe you don't want to lower your shoulder, but just turn and look and keep the shoulder up. Notice. So notice your own muscles. Start to feel perhaps a little releasing. Let the neck follow the movement. So try to release the tension of the neck. And then bring it back to crocodile. Shimmy the hips to let go. We're going to take the left heel up to the ceiling. Activate by pressing the left heel up a little. So you're going to lift the left knee a little bit without lifting the hips yet. So feel that activation. Maybe a little press down of the right leg, the right top of the right foot, just to keep you stable. Feel. And then take a little lift of that heel, lift of the hip. Send the heel a little bit over towards the right leg. Feeling a little twist, a little opening, maybe a little more, sending that leg backwards. So the movement is coming through an opening on the left side body and not from the sacrum, from the lower back space. And then slowly lower. Take a little shimmy of the hips. Send the right heel to the ceiling. Start to activate the leg, press the heel up, and then take a little slow movement of the heel past the left leg. And start to really connect with that right side body, opening down across the rib cage. And then slowly lower. Bring both heels to the ceiling and slowly move the feet left to right. Windshield wiper the feet. Lower the feet and come on back to child's pose. Nice and slow and mindful. And then slowly make your way up to a seated position. If you need to use a chair in this seated position, go ahead and grab a chair. So find a comfortable seated position for your body. See if you can start to connect with both hips being even on the ground, and maybe even shuffle the hips so you can really feel the hips. Start to think about your own thought patterns on how your spine should be in this position. So do you have thought patterns that your shoulders need to be pulled back, and maybe there's a little squishing between the shoulder blades, a little tension? Do you have the thought that you need to be straight in the spine and your chin is moving back and your shoulders are pulling back, and maybe you're over flattening the curve in your lower back? So start to think about what your spine feels like, what the muscles that support your spine feel like in a seated position. Maybe take a little shuffle side to side of the shoulders. Notice what is present in the muscles of the neck, the shoulders, and in between the shoulder blades. Do you have a common pattern of how you release your hands into your laps? Maybe pick up your hand and let your hands fall so that your shoulders just fall naturally. And we're going to think about some spinal movements and patterns. So thinking about all the muscles and movements our spine makes. We're going to start to take little twisting motions, thinking about moving from the chest or moving from the rib cage. So we're going to inhale center, take your arms out of the game. Exhale, take a little twist, so pulling the shoulder towards one side. Inhale back, exhale, twist. So having an experience here, starting to move with the breath, starting to move with kindness, and then thinking about anything that you might be doing that's competing with yourself. So take a check in on your feet, particularly if you're sitting on easy seat, or your hips. Are you pressing into a hip to get further? Notice. And then ask yourself, who are you competing with? And then just start to have the experience of a little fluidity in the spine, moving with your breath. Just moving with no goal, just an experience. Inhale center, exhale twist. And then bring your torso back to neutral. And we're going to try and have that same experience with the next movement. So we're going to think about the twist of grabbing for something. So inhale center, exhale twist and reach. Inhale center, exhale twist and reach. So start to make this movement a little more fluid. So start to really feel the muscles, connect with the muscles that make this movement happen. Notice if you want to take this into your back, feel your back. Notice if you're pressing down onto a leg. And then bring your torso back to neutral. See if you can drop your shoulders, take the tension back out of your spine. And then we're going to think about side to side movement. Right? Rather than using our arms as a guide, we're going to think about moving our shoulders. So letting your arms stay where they are. Inhale is neutral, exhale is pulling one shoulder down and reaching up through the other side rib cage. Inhale center, exhale pull the shoulder down, find some space on the opposite side. Let the head move naturally. Try not to grip and hold in the muscles of the neck. See if you can start to really pull a shoulder up, really start to feel some space on the rib cage. And then bring the torso back to neutral. Give the shoulders a wriggle. Notice what's present in the shoulders. And then we're going to intentionally pull as much tension as we possibly can into the shoulders. So squeeze and draw them all the way up towards the ears. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. If it helps, you can make fists and squeeze your arms also. And then squeeze them back towards each other. Bring as much tension as possible in between the shoulder blades. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then pull the shoulder blades down, still trying to keep as much tension as possible in between the shoulders. Take a deep breath in, and with the exhale, suddenly release. See what is present. Notice, 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 feel. And then soft, slow circles, one at a time with your shoulder. Feel your shoulder, feel all the directions it can move in, and then reverse the circles one at a time. Bring it back to neutral. Think about getting really long through the crown of the head, so make some space in the neck. Check in on your chin. Watch for pulling back of your chin and over flattening your neck. Trying to make a little more space for the neck. Imagine your skull getting lighter. So sending your skull upwards without too much tension in the neck. And then we're going to slowly draw the right ear towards the right shoulder and notice what is present on the left side of the neck. If you like, you can take your right hand and rest it on this left side of your chest, just underneath your collarbone. That little counter opposition of forces, tiny pull, can help you find, and you can move your chin around gently, feeling what is present on this left side. Go slow, feel. Slowly bring your head back to neutral, remove the right hand, and then slowly bring the left ear over to the left shoulder, opposite side, and right hand can rest just underneath the collarbone on the right side. Take some movement, just gently feeling what is present in the muscles of the neck. And then slowly bring the chin back to neutral. Warm your hands and bring your hands to right at the meeting point of upper and lower jaw. So feel some warmth here. Maybe even close your eyes to help you really focus in on what is present in these muscles. So notice that there are muscles that have tension holding the jaw up and all the way into the temple space, and there are muscles in behind the ears and under the jaw. Start to feel this space. And then intentionally close your teeth. So not really pressing hard, but close the back teeth together so you can feel a little tension in these muscles. So a little bit of tension, closing the teeth. See how many muscles you can connect with and feel. And then slow as you can, lower the lower jaw as if you're letting it eventually fall with gravity. See if you can lower it without pressing activation of the muscles. So lower the jaw, slow as you can. See if you can get to the sensation of your jaw hanging. And then a little bit of activation of the muscles that hold the lower jaw. Take the jaw a little bit to the right, and then a little bit to the left. And then press the jaw open with the muscles, so really open wide. Slowly release the muscles. Release the hands to your lap, and notice the muscles of the jaw. Notice what is present. Take the jaw, the lower jaw, and press it forward with muscular action. Feel it. And then pull it back. And then soften. See if you can make a tiny circle with the lower jaw. So see if you can feel some circular action, slow and gentle, not just rolling through the joint, but just feel the muscles. And then reverse your circle. And then squeeze the face muscles into a fishy face. And then puff the cheeks out. And then take a deep breath in and let everything sink with the exhale. We're going to slowly make our way back down to our backs. And we're going to notice what is different from when we started. So again, just trying to have that experience. What feels different? Maybe some muscles feel a little different. Maybe there's some tingling. Maybe there's some awareness. Just looking internally for sensation. Notice the shoulders. So notice where they are. Maybe they're still pulling forward. Maybe they're a little bit closer to the ground. Start to feel in the body what is present. And then warm the hands, rubbing them together, and return them to the torso where they were before when we started, or perhaps in a different space. Just find some space on the lower torso, stomach area, and feel your hands. Is it a little easier to stay focused on your hands? Is it a little harder? Perhaps the mind is starting to trail away. Having that inquiry, looking in, searching in. And there's a famous quote from the Gita: yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. So it's all about getting to know all the parts of yourself so that you may have a more comfortable existence. So that all this tension in the body, all these spiraling thoughts, all these spiraling emotions take us less by surprise. Because we know what is present. We experience the present moment. And then as we start to take ourselves towards our resting pose and meditation, I'm going to run you through squeeze and release of the physical body. So take your legs long, unless this is super uncomfortable for your lower back or your glutes or your hamstrings. If you need to, place something in underneath your knees to give yourself a little space. We're going to squeeze the toes, squeeze them really, 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 really tight, and see how many muscles we can find in the toes and the feet, and particularly notice anything else that fires up when you're trying to just squeeze your toes. And then take a deep breath in, and with the exhale, release those toes as soft as you can possibly release. Every muscle in your foot, see how soft you can get your feet. Imagine the soles of your feet as squishy and soft as a newborn baby's soft little squishy feet. And then squeeze the feet, squeeze the legs. So find as many muscles as you can from the hips down. Squeeze, 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 squeeze as tight as you possibly can. Notice any tension that comes in anywhere else in the body. And then really squeeze as tight as you can, taking a deep, 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 deep inhale. And with the exhale, release as much of that tension as you possibly can to the ground. And then we're going to squeeze our feet, our legs, and then bring as much tension as we can into the torso, the hips, the glutes. Squeeze, squeeze tighter. Find your hands, make fists, make tension in your arms and your fists, and then from the shoulders down, as many muscles as you can possibly find to squeeze. Squeeze some more, squeeze some more. Locate as many mind-body connections as you can to the whole torso, the whole legs, the arms. Take a deep breath in, and with the exhale, soften as much of that tension as you can possibly let go of into the ground. And then squeeze from the feet up Squeezing the legs, squeezing the hips, squeezing the glutes, squeeze the arms, squeeze the torso. Make fists. Find your face and squeeze as much tension as you possibly can into the muscles of the face. Round the eyes, round the jaw, round the lips. Squeeze the neck, squeeze the head as if you're trying to squeeze your skull in closer. Squeeze as tight as you can. Tight, 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 tight. Take a deep breath in. And with the exhale, melt into the ground. Begin to release all focus on your breath. Begin to release all muscular tension. See if you can soften the roof of your mouth. See if you can soften around your tongue. Soften the inner eye, and then slowly soften the muscles around the eye to the outsides of your eyes. Locate that common squishy point right between the eyebrows. See if you can imagine some kind of melty ball of energy. Just softening here and slowly spreading across the skin of the face. Trickling over the skin, softening as it spreads over the forehead, down the temples, over the cheeks, into the jaw, down the neck. Soften the skin on the chest, down the arms, soften the palms. Slowly allow that trickling, softening feeling to spread down the torso, down the legs, and to the soles of the feet. And then as we soften as much of our muscular physical body as possible into the support of the ground below us, we're going to gently draw our focus inward. So we begin with the thoughts. We begin with the mind. We begin with what swirls and what is ever present in the head. And as we peek in, can we begin to let go of that clinging notion of these are my thoughts, these are my feelings, or that clinging notion of describing a feeling as I feel this, or I think this. Beginning to allow that clinging notion of describing ourselves and ourselves being the experience of the thoughts, the experience of the feelings. Perhaps even letting go of the labeling of what type of thought or feeling you are having. Beginning to let go and allow space for sensation and thought to be present. Can you begin to see the thoughts as just a combination of the experiences that we have had? A way of our brain processing the random firings, a way of our brain processing memories. way of our brain trying to shape our existence in a way that we can cognitively understand. And as we allow space for these thoughts to fire, to be as they are, can we start to drift our focus a little further away from them? So these thoughts are a natural occurrence of the human experience. Feelings are a natural occurrence of the human experience. But there's also a little bit more. We are not only thoughts. We are not only physical existence, and we are not only emotions. There's some little part of us inside that ties all this together and makes us uniquely us. One of the easiest ways to connect with the concept of our life force is to draw our attention slower and slower towards the sound of our own heartbeat. And as you practice this practice of looking down in towards the heartbeat, perhaps you find it, and perhaps the cognitive mind says, there it is. And notice that that is a thought pulling you out of an experience, and slowly walk your attention back towards the heartbeat. You have the time to take practicing, noticing when your attention is pulled away, noticing when you're away with an emotion or a thought or sound in your environment. And gently, slowly, walking your intention further and further deeper within this human experience towards the sound of the heartbeat. Notice and draw focus back. Notice and draw focus back. Take the time that you can practicing this practice of constantly refocusing your awareness when you notice you're being pulled away. If you need to finish up at the 60-minute mark, you're going to slowly begin to draw your awareness to your physical sensations. So begin to notice how your body feels on the mat right now. Take time to notice what is present, what feels perhaps different than when you started. And then take some gentle soft wiggles with the fingers and the toes. And then take this wonderful time in your body's intuition to maybe take a couple of lengthen and stretches and just move in a way that feels right for your body, trusting in your body's intuition that after rest, it knows just how to creak and groan and stretch and move. And then slowly make your way into a fetal position and really curl up in this protective position, feeling where you are in space and time. So many of the teachings and the people that practice, they try to teach us this present moment awareness, and we try to be in present moment, and it's a challenge, it's a discipline, it's a practice. So take time right now in this moment to just be on the mat. I am here now. Not be in tomorrow, not be in yesterday. Surrendering to what we cannot change and taking just a moment to be with ourselves. I am here now. And then without cognitively thinking about it, allow a thought, a promise for the rest of your day to come to mind. So perhaps it is just that I am here now. You're going to repeat that. You're going to think that. You're going to return to that throughout the rest of the day, maybe even for a week. Maybe it is I am worthy. Something working with being comfortable in the self. I am worthy. Perhaps you're working on health. Maybe it's I am strong. Or perhaps something popped to mind that is entirely your own, that your body, mind, this whole system knows that you need to be working with. Now, as we slowly come up to a seated position, bringing our hands to prayer, imagine bringing that little promise to this heart space, as if promising yourself you're going to hold it with you today. You're going to seal it in. And whenever you notice the thoughts swirling, the emotions swirling, taking a little pause, maybe even placing a hand on the heart center, maybe even two hands, and just making that little promise. Making a promise to your innermost self. And then acknowledging the light in each other. So repeating, the light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Bring your prayer to your forehead. Thank you.